What's going on, my Central Unit? It's the Central Man here. So this is my review of Survivor Series 2025, Survivor Series War Games San Diego. It's been a long time since I review, not a long time, it's been a little while since I review a WWE Premium Live event on this channel. I think the last one I did was reviewing the two-nighted SummerSlam event from August of this year. So yeah, and the reason why I'm reviewing it because Survivor Series, one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year for the WWE, in the Big Four, alongside the Royal Rumbles, the WrestleManias, and the SummerSlams. Yeah, you can throw in Money in the Bank as well. So yeah, Survivor Series 2025. This show was at the Petco Park, home of the San Diego Padres. And this is the first Survivor Series pay-per-view to take place outdoors. Wow! Because in the show's nearly 40th, nearly their 40 years history, they mostly do it indoors. So I gladly did a Survivor Series, almost say SummerSlam. It's funny, like their initials both for SummerSlam and Survivor Series is SS. Anyway, it's really good to see Survivor Series getting that treatment to do this show outdoors. You know, getting that I don't know, that WrestleMania and also SummerSlam treatment. Even though Royal Rumble also doing, you know, their pay-per-views or premium live events, what you call it, you know, in an outdoor arena, in a football stadium or a baseball ground. Anyway, so there's 4 matches on the card. I think it's really good. Do 4 matches. You know, 2 War Games matches, the Intercontinental title match, and the Women's World title match. We'll get to those matches later on. So the first match to kick off Survivor Series 2025. We got the Women's War Games match. So we got Team Rhea. I'm going to break down the team representing Team Rhea. So we got you got Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Io Sky, and AJ Lee, taking on the team of Team Asuka. Or you know, that's so representing Team Asuka or Team Becky. You know, it says Team Asuka. I call it Team Becky because I think Becky is the captain of the team. So we got Becky Lynch, the Kabuki Warriors. That's the team of Asuka and Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend. I almost call her Lash LaRue. You know, as a wrestler from WCW, but it's actually Lash Legend. So I'm trying to keep it short and simple with these matches. You know, like for the women's and the men's War Games matches, there's not a lot to talk about. You know, I think the women's match was a bit boring. I'm not saying this was a bad match. It wasn't. It was just I got really bored. It's on about like 40. It lasted about 41 minutes. 41 minutes 10 seconds. Wow. There's not a lot to hit home about this match. So it's funny. This is AJ Lee's first Survivor Series for 11 years. You know, I think the last time she appeared at a Survivor Series was in 2014, in my memory, and you know, she was the Divas Champion, lost the title to Nikki Bella. You know, that was known for, like, you know, Brie, you know, reuniting with her sister. That's another story for another time. So anyway, so yeah, nothing much to talk about with this match. I don't want to go. I'm not going to go in details of it. You know, my advice to you: go and watch it on Netflix if you got Netflix. So you had Kairi did this kind of almost botched. Like, I think she was going like a springboard clothesline, but instead she kind of tripped, kind of emphasized it. She slightly tripped, but jumped and did a clothesline. I think it was on Asuka. Yeah, Asuka, you know. It's funny, like Kairi was carrying the lid, and Rhea later on in the match got the trash can with both got the, you know, the name of Io Sky. So it's just basically the trash can and the chain. Like, there was one funny, well, not funny spot, really fun spot. You know, you had Kairi Sane with the chain. You kind of like tied up. I think it was Asuka. Not Asuka. I think it was Alexa, Charlotte, and Io. And then they did like I think it was the Kabuki Warriors did like a double like not clothesline but drop kick onto them. That was kind of fun. Rhea came out wearing the mask. She was dressed up like it was referencing the film Terrorizer. You know, like you had Art the Clown. You know, Art the Clown. Yeah, because it's good to see Rhea wearing the Art the Clown mask, you know. Because last year's Survivor Series, you know, she was wearing like this devil goat mask, and it had the face paint around her face. I never knew that, you know, she injured her face. It's the same injury she sustained last year. I never knew that. Goddamn, but yeah, seeing Rhea like wearing the Art the Clown mask, you know, I've seen the first film of Terrorizer. I haven't seen the sequels yet, but it's funny. Like I think it was later on, early in the year, you know, I think it was a music concert. You know, there was a guy dressed up like Art the Clown, you know, from the Terrorizer films, and you know, stabbing Rhea in the head. You know, that was cool. It's the same level when, you know, like Chucky got, you know, stabbing Liv Morgan. You know, seeing the wrestlers appear in horror genre. You know, so it's kind of cool. Good homage. You know, there was one spot with Lash LaRue. I think like both Nia and Lash did like, I think they did like power bombs. I don't know to who. I think was it maybe Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, or Charlotte, or maybe Charlotte and Rhea. I can't really remember. They did like a splash, a double, not splash, but a double like military press. I think it was on Io, and throw it into the other the babyface team. Anyway, so I like Io, like she kind of like placed the trash can on her, she kind of wrapped the trash can onto her. You know, she's basically placed. No, what I'm trying to say. She kind of placed the trash can while she's on top of the cage. Did the I think is it the swanton bomb onto the heel team. So I'm trying to keep it short and simple. You know, it's good to see AJ and Becky continue their rivalry. You know, because they fought at, was it Clash of Paris? No, is it Clash of Paris or WrestlePalooza? Early in the year, you know, in that match between Becky and Seth taking on CM Punk and AJ Lee. You know, it could be Clash of Paris or no, it was WrestlePalooza. You know, I think Clash of Paris had the 4-way match or triple threat match for the world title when Seth was the champion. But anyway, so yeah, Charlotte and Asuka started the War Games match. You know, it's rekindled their rivalry. They've been feuding. Actually, they've been feuding for months now. You know, because they're in the tag team scene. You know, Alexa and Charlotte were the tag team champions. They just dropped the belts to the Kabuki Warriors, but they had history in the past. You know, like Charlotte ended Asuka's undefeated streak. So anyway, so so I think Nia and Rhea had a little bit of a rivalry. You know, going back to the start of early 2024 when Rhea was the champion, the women's world champion. You know, when she like defeated Nia, you know, in Elimination Chamber Perth, you know, in Rhea's home country. Yeah, so anyway, trying to keep it short and simple. So anyway, Becky was about to leave the ring. I think Alexa and you know, like Alexa was going to hit Becky with the Sister Abigail. I think Becky was trying to leave. You know, if you leave the match, her team forfeits. So I'm guessing Charlotte brought her down. Rhea hit the riptide. I forgot to mention this. You know, I'll get to the end in a bit. So there was one spot. You know, who did that? I think it was I think it's one of the Kabuki Warriors. I can't remember. So Io plays one. I don't know. One of the, you know, Rhea locked somebody with the not the Riptide, the Texas Cloverleaf. EO did the place the trash can, did like that baseball sliding drop kick. I don't know to who. Is it the Kabuki Warriors? This before, I think it's before Nia and Lash Legend, appeared. So anyway, Rhea hit the Riptide on Becky Lynch. I'm talking about the end, by the way, and AJ locked in the Black Widow to make Becky tap out. I think she tapped out in that. It's the same submission hold made Becky tapped out at WrestlePalooza in September. So, Team Rhea won this match. So it's funny, like there's a fact that the stat that I think EO pinned in all of the War Games matches. Rhea has I think Rhea also pinned in a lot of War Games. No, I don't. Yeah, I feel like I saw an image of how many War Games that EO Sky appeared. I don't want to get into that. I think it was 7. So anyway, I think it's the right call having Team Rhea win this. So what's going on down the line? We're gonna find out. So I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was a bit long. Or just a couple minutes of this match. Nothing much to talk about. So not crazy spots. Part of EO did her the move off the top rope. With the trash can. So. So anyway, you got a little bit of the star power for the women. Like with Rhea, with Charlotte, Alexa. You could say Asuka in a certain degree, and AJ. So anyway, let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is for the Intercontinental Championship. John Cena basically in his first and only title defense, defending the title against Dominic Mysterio, the hometown boy, with his fellow members of the Judgment Day. He had Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez. Because Cena beat Dom a couple weeks ago on Raw to win the Intercontinental title. It's the only time he's gonna win it, and he really won anything for Cena. Cena won anything in the company. He's been WWE champion, World Heavyweight Champion, the original Big Gold Belt. He's been United States Champion. He's been Tag Team Champion. I think he was the World Tag Team Champion. Yeah, World Tag Team Champion. The Big Penny Belts, Tag Team Champions. With David Otunga, when Cena was briefly part of the Nexus. He's been Money in the Bank winner and a Royal Rumble winner. So I think Cena win it, knowing that this is going to be his final year in the company. His time as a wrestler has nearly come to an end. So I've seen him winning the belt. So this match between Cena and Dom is a bit longer than, I think it was a short match a couple weeks ago on Raw. But is it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago. Can't remember. But anyway, overbooked. This was overbooked as crap. I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was just basically overbooked. Too much interference by the Judgment Day members like Raquel and Roxy or Roxanne. I'm gonna call her Roxy because it's short for Roxanne. But anyway, so they kind of did their shtick, and then there was one spot in this match. Dom did a hurricanrana tried to do a hurricanrana onto Cena onto the barricade. He kind of landed on his head, and he's selling the shoulder injury. I thought he actually fucked up. I think they compared it to Penta's situation on a match on Raw. I think it was weeks ago, something like that. But you had Raquel. You could I think it's now a work. He's selling like he's injured his not neck but his shoulder. Anyway, so you got Raquel hit Cena with the what is it called, the Tejado powerbomb, torpedo powerbomb. What? It's basically a choke slam powerbomb. And then Roxy Perez hit Cena with the pot rocks. It's basically the Canadian Destroyer, Mexican Destroyer, the Code Red. Cena, if you watch the Cena match over the years, he sometimes does that move. The Code Res, the Mexican Destroyer, the Canadian Destroyer, whatever you call that move. So anyway, they got himself Anyway, and then Don came out, he playing possum, hit Cena with the 619, and he's trying to hit him with the frog splash. He's going for the win, going for the pin. I think the referee Chad Patton has none of it, not calling the free count, and he kicked her both Roxanne and Raquel ejects him from ringside, and then I think Cena hit the AA onto he hit the AA onto Dom. Vicky kicked out. He tried to lock in the STF. There was a referee bump. Cena accidentally shoulder barged the referee, and then you got like Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Cena beat down Cena for a bit, and then Cena overcome both guys, hit Finn and JD with the double AA. It's the same spot when he did Cena's match against Edge and Big Show at WrestleMania 25. That was a good homage. Anyway, so it was overbooked. I'll get to a little bit of the Judgment Day a little bit later on, but anyway, so we got the return of Liv Morgan. We haven't seen Liv Morgan since June. She injured her shoulder. Now she's back. Kind of slapped Dom, and then she hugs Cena, and then she's trying to do the same look. When Cena turned heel early in the year, did the smile, then doing that evil look. When Liv doing it, it's funny how Liv's got blue eyes. I'm not gonna diss Liv. Liv's got like a face of a clown. I'm not being rude. She's just got that clown look. I'm not saying she's without the makeup, but she's trying to do it, but you can tell it's a bit, what's going to happen. So Liv, low blow, Cena kicked him in the balls, and then Dom, it's a mixed bag for Dom. Fans were chanting for John Cena, but you can tell the hometown boys still got some pop. It was a mixed reaction. They're still chanting, singing the Dirty Dom song. Because no shit, because he's the hometown boy. So anyway, Dom hit the 619. I think it was the 619. I think Liv hit Cena with the Cena with the belt. I think it was another frog splash for the win. So I knew Cena's dropping the title, man. I think it's for the best, man, because if they'd done this early in the year, it got me thinking. If they'd done this years ago. No, if they'd done it early in the year, maybe they could give I don't know, man. I feel like if they'd done it not years ago, but what am I fucking saying? But I think it's for the best, man. It was predictable. I'm not saying it was a bad match. It had some moments, but it was just overbooked with the Judgment Day members, man. I'm gonna say right now, I think the Judgment Day has run its course. The group's been around for nearly 3.5 years. It's really, I think this version of the Judgment Day is the weakest. I think it's just a shadow of its former self. They're not really the main threat on Raw, because I feel like the main threat right now is Division. I think it's just run its course. It's funny, the original 3 members of the first version of the Judgment Day is Edge, the leader, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley. And then they're no longer part of the group. And then the second version, you added Dom and Finn Balor. And now this is the third version of the group. Carlito was gone, but to be honest, Carlito didn't bring nothing to the group. But I wish they just branch off, doing their own thing. I think they are going to do this breaking away group. I could see Liv turn babyface. Doing this love triangle storyline between Liv, Dom, and Roxanne. Down the road. But the fans trying to thank you, Cena. This is Cena's first Survivor Series. For his first Survivor Series appearance for several years. This is his last one. It's funny, his first Survivor Series appearance was Survivor Series 2003. He was part of the team. He was part of Team Angle, taking on Team Lesnar. That was in 2003, and 12 years later, he's losing to Dirty Dom. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but having that world covering, Saturday night main event, I think it was in 2 weeks' time, or almost 2 weeks' time, on the 13th of December. Depending who's going to win that last time is now tournament. So Dawn winning. I think it's the right call, man. I think Dawn is over. You know, we don't. You know, so let's move on to the next match. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. So the next match, we got the women's championship match, or the women's world title match. Stephanie Foucault defending the belt against Nikki Bella. Keep it short and simple. Not to say a bad match. It was kind of meh. I knew Stephanie's gonna win. You know, I'm not a big fan of Nikki Bella. You know, I don't hate her as a person. I don't hate Nikki Bella as a person. I just don't like her as a character. You know, going back to her run as the Divas champion in 2015, almost a decade ago. She was okay in this match. You know, she hits Valkyria with the was it the Rack Attack 2.0 for the near fall, but like actually Stephanie's foot was on the ropes. But I felt like Stephanie dominated this match. You know, has more offense than Nikki. You know, I don't see Nikki have more offense. You know, I think her stumps, her kicks look shit, her strikes look shit. You know, it's just what it is, man. I don't want to get into it. So anyway, Valkyria, she was kind of like taunting, doing Stephanie's taunt. I think that's setting up the kiss of death. She did the kiss of death onto Nikki on the Spanish announce desk and also on the canvas. You know. She did. She in the end. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Steffi hit like the corkscrew splash for the win. So, she did like that stump on Nikki's chest near the ring apron. That was the second attempt. The first one she completely missed it and she hurt her knee, but didn't sell the knee. But so Stephanie winning, retaining the belt was the right call. I don't want to see Nikki winning it. I don't want to see Nikki winning any championships. You know, it's funny. Like, you know, early in the year she fought against Becky Lynch. I think it was at is it Clash of Paris? Yeah, Clash of Paris. And then she helped Seth retain the title at on that same night. What's next for Stephanie Foucault? I think she's a potential star. I like the look, you know, the devil goat look. You know, she's from Chile. She's pale skin. She's got that face painter on her eye. You know, I think she's got potential to be a star. I think the one thing that's holding her back a little bit is I think it's the language barrier, because like I said, she's from Chile. I think she needs to prove her English. You know when she's like on the mic. So besides that, you know, it's an okay performance for Stephanie Foucault. So moving on to the main event, we got the men's War Games match. So we got the Vision. You got the you could say two members of the Vision at this point. I think Logan Paul's not officially part of the group. So the two members of the Vision, we got Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman taking on the team of CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the WWE Champion, the Usos, and Roman Reigns. This is similar to the women's match from the opener. Boring. I can't say it's match of the night, man. It's hard to say. I think like the men's and the women's matches, I'm not saying they're bad matches. They're not great matches, but they're kind of good. But it's just, it went too long, in my opinion. You know, it just went too long. You know, I feel like I was born. There was lack of weapons in those two War Games matches. You know, I'm trying to keep it short and simple. We'll get to the ending a little bit later on, but the one spot when Braun nearly broke his neck. You know, I think it was a Doomsday spot. I think it was Cody and Punk. They did like a Doomsday device onto Braun Breaker, and Breaker nearly land on his head, man. Oh my god, I'm glad he recovered, man. That'd be like a scary spot, you know. But I don't want to go any more in details of this match, you know. I think it's a match of the night by default, but that's not saying too much. Not a lot of weapon shots, you know. Drew, you know, it's good to see Punk and Drew rekindled their rivalry because they had that rivalry in 2024. You know, I think it was started at the Rumble. It continued throughout throughout the whole of 2024. Ended it at Hell in a Cell. It's funny, like seeing like Drew trying to eye gouge Punk's eyes out. It's similar to the scenario. It's a reference to when, if you watch Game of Thrones, with the mountain eye gouge and trying to explode the Viper's skull. The Viper from Game of Thrones was played by Pedro Pascal. Anyway, he kind of like rubbing Punk's head near the cage wall. That led to Punk to bleed, not bleed in buckets, but kind of bleed a lot right in the head area. Anyway, so you had Jay do his shtick, his music kind of play mid entrance, they do the yeet, I think a lot of people just I think they're completely tuned out by Jey Uso, I don't want to get into that. So yeah, Jay doing the whole yeet thing mid match, and then out comes Brock Lesnar to spoil it. He's, I think he was the final member of the group of this. He's kind of final member to enter the War Games match to officially start the match. You had Roman and Brock, continue their kind of rekindled their rivalry because they haven't really interact since about 3 years ago. Since SummerSlam of 2022. This time the roles are reversed. Roman's the babyface, Brock is the heel. Fighting outside, fighting the entranceway. Roman was going for the spear. Brock counted into the F5. F5. Roman into the announce desk. I think he kind of threw him back in the ring. He kind of hitting the babyface team with suplex and F5s. Logan Paul. Yeah, I don't know. I think who's the weak? I think like the 2 weak links of this men's War Games match. I have to go with on the I think on the heel side is Logan Paul. On the babyface side is Jimmy Uso. So with Logan Paul, I'm not keen on Logan Paul. I think he's there to do a massive highlight reels, on WWE's YouTube channel or Instagram, whether or TikTok, he just does the high fly splash, but he's just doing knuckle duster spots, He's funny. He's trying to do it on Roman Reigns, but Reigns countered with the Superman punch. No, he speared him, and then Reigns just grabbing the. Because here's the funny part, Paul Heyman gave Logan Paul the knuckle duster or brass knuckles, and Logan trying to end up hitting, I think it's Cody, Jey, the Usos. I think Punk with the knuckle duster, and then he's trying to do it on Roman. Roman spears him, and then Roman end up Roman end up doing the Superman punch on the heel team on the Vision. I don't think he did it on Brock. I think he did it on Logan Paul. He did it on Braun Breaker. I think it's Drew McIntyre. I don't know Braun Breaker. Bronson Reed did tsunamis. His finisher in this match. I think Michael Cole brings up. The previous year's War Games match at Survivor Series last year, he blamed Punk for this, I think he did a spot, he did a tsunami, but instead he ended up accidentally injuring his ankle, he blamed it on Punk, I'm glad Cole bring back the previous year's Survivor Series, and also Michael Cole did a botch, he said this is, Brock having been in a team since 2004, I think he's referring to 2003, the Team Lesnar versus Team Angle match of that year's Survivor Series, it's the first time Lesnar was part of the team. Anyway, So anyway, trying to keep it short and simple. I heard like Lesnar trying to put, I think it was Jimmy or Jay, through the announce desk, not announce desk, the table, the Slim Jim table in the ring, but instead Reigns speared Lesnar through it. Anyway, we got this mysterious opponent, a mysterious guy, came into you gotta climb into the cage, hit Punk with the curb stomp, I thought that Seth Rollins, but that will make no sense. We'll get some more of that later on, or a little bit actually. So Braun Breaker did like his I think he speared Punk for the win, and for the best, man. I think like the last two installments of Survivor Series War Games for the men, the men's babyface team wins. Like, I think the last time a heel team won a War Games match was, I think it was 2000. I think it was the Bloodlines met the original Bloodline from 2022. So yeah, seeing like, Braun Breaker, Braun Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, all raised their arm in victory. That was like to end the show. So anyway, so who's the mysterious guy wearing the mask? If it's Seth Rollins, that makes no sense. So what's the point of, hey, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker took me out, and then all of a sudden I'm back. I don't know. I don't think he's medical to clear. I don't know. I said it on. There was like rumors and said on the Wikipedia page it's Austin Theory. If that was the case, I'm not a big fan of Austin Theory, man. I think, like, why they continue to trying to push this guy? I think he's just corny. I don't think he's got he's got an okay physique, don't get me wrong, but he's not, like, I don't think he has, I think he come across annoying. He beat John Cena at WrestleMania 39, about, like 2.5 years ago, but that didn't do nothing for Austin Theory. Teaming up with Grayson Waller, that didn't work. They're so annoying. Now they'll be part of the Vision faction. Come on now, why? Even though I think like maybe like Austin Theory had a history with Seth Rollins. I think they fought over the United States title. I think it was about 2022. Nah. Like maybe Jericho. Jericho have a history with Punk and Seth. I'm guessing if that was the case, I think Jericho's time in AEW is at an end. We haven't seen Jericho since the start. I think it was the spring of 2025. I think he kind of chew up Big Bill and Brian Keith. Failed to win the tag team titles after I think they lost the tag team title match to the Hurt Syndicate. So I don't know, man. Like Moxley, no, that's stupid. He ain't coming back to WWE, man. He's still with AEW, still part of the Death Riders, man. I say Jericho, but it's gonna be Austin Theory, man. We've got to wait until the upcoming Raw. So yeah, afterwards, you had the stare down between. I think you had the stare down, like an angry stare down between Punk, Roman, and Cody. I think Roman tells CM Punk, says, "I'm not teaming with Cody ever again." So I don't know, man. So I don't know. Like if they're doing another Seth Rollins Punk match, I think they need to wrap it up, man. I don't know. I think it's losing its steam. I kind of like it in the first half of 2025, and then they kind of dragged it, and too much shtick. Yeah, they had that mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza, but it'll be, was it until April, until WrestleMania 42? I don't know, man. I don't want to get into that. So yeah, seeing Punk, Roman getting pissed off at Cody, man. I'm saying I'm not going to team up with him ever again, because Cody didn't even took the pinfall. It was Punk took the pinfall. I think it's Punk or Cody. I can't remember. But anyway, so I don't know. We don't know what's going on, So I don't think we're going to see Roman again until the Royal Rumble. So that will be in late January of next month. So yes, the Mysterious Man. I don't know. I don't know, man. When I'm gonna do my overall rating of the show, I'm just gonna leave them out. Didn't do nothing for me. So yeah, it's just, the match is good, but not great. So my overall rating of Survivor Series 2025 War Games San Diego is a 6 out of 10. Just an average show, to be honest. I'm not saying it's a bad show. It's not great. It's just an okay show. The two War Games matches for the men and the women's, they are good, but they're not great. There've been better ones in the past. The things I put in the cons, I think the two War Games matches, like I said, they are good, but they're too long. They last about like 40 minutes long. That's a bit overkill. I'm not going to put the mystery attacker in that main event. To be frankly, it didn't do nothing for me, and by the time this video is uploaded, we'll probably find out who is the mystery attacker. The other things I put in the con is John Cena versus Dirty Dom Mysterio. It was like overbooked by members of the Judgment Day. It's just a way to take the belt off of Cena and get it back to Dominic Mysterio. It was predictable. And Stephanie Foucault versus Nikki Bella for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, it was okay, but nothing much to talk about. Yeah, 2025, man, wow. I think it's just Triple H's weakest year ever since he took creative in for the WWE. It's just one of his weakest years. So, what's your thoughts on Survivor Series 2025 War Games San Diego? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash that button, click the like, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. This is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.